Sure. So my grandfather, my dad's dad, was a charter subscriber to Rodale's Organic Gardening and Farming magazine when it first came out in the late 1940s, and um, and at that, a lot of people don't realize that at that time the country was really in a watershed of whether they would move toward chemical or not toward chemical at that time, and the leftover ammunition piles from World War II provided a tremendous amount of cheap, nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. That's what they make bombs out of, right? And so the chemical approach really, it was cheap, it was ready to go, and so here we go into the chemical approach. And many people, were concerned about that, including my grandfather. My dad got his, penchant for that from his dad, of course. And then when we came here circuitously. My dad flew in the Navy in World War II, and he wanted to farm, but as a poor Midwestern kid that didn't have a farm, how did we get started? And he was always interested in moving forward with a uh, with a new frontier, a new thing, always ready for the new thing. And if, as you know, your history after World War II, there was a lot of interest in South America. A lot of people went there, saw it as a land of opportunity, um, and so he said, "Well, I'll go to South America. I'll try to get a good job, save up some money, and buy a farm there. The land's a lot cheaper." So that's exactly what he did, and went and bought a farm. But then we got caught in 1959. By that time, he had two boys, and we got caught in the 1959 junta, the uprising of Perez Jimenez. It was a coup, and we were just American expats out there living on the land. And what happens in a lot in these cases is that um, when there's that kind of political upheaval in a country, it gives license, since everything's kind of discombobulated, it gives license for settling grievances that have nothing to do with the overall political situation. And so very quickly, when we started farming, we started with chickens. The goal was to do chickens and dairy, and we started with chickens. And very quickly, Dad took over the local chicken market because our chickens were cleaner. And so in those South American countries, the farmers bring their stuff into the village square, and then the vendors come and buy from the farmers, and then they take the bananas, the papaya, the grapefruit, the chicken, the whatever, coffee beans, through the town, and people actually buy that stuff straight off of a pole, or almost like like a walking ice cream truck. And so very quickly, Dad kind of took over the market from the other fellows, because our chickens they didn't have subtherapeutic pneumonia. They didn't have snot coming out of their beak. And the women who were buying the chickens, they would actually take their finger and run it down the beak of the chicken, to see if it was dry or not. And that affected the price. Well, the local yokels, they didn't come to Dad and ask him, "Well, how do you do this?" They thought we were into voodoo. And so, since we were into voodoo, that made us, kind of witches and weirdos in the community. The point is that we got that when the coup and the whole country broke down in the anarchy of the situation, we became targets of farmers in the area to settle their scores. We basically fled the back door as the machine guns came in the front door, and we couldn't get protection, we couldn't get safety, couldn't get anything. So finally, we just lost everything, walked away, and came back to the U.S. in Easter Sunday, 1961, and I was just 4 years old, and our Dad was 42. And I remember when I hit 42, thinking, "Wow, if I lost it all, would I start over again, or would I do something else?" And so, as often happens as we age, Dad's perseverance, his faithfulness, his vision, grew a lot. When I hit that age, and he had already passed away, but when I hit that age and realized, wow, that would be something to lose it all and start over. So So we settled here in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, started over on a gullied rock pile. It was the worst piece of land that was available, but that made it cheap, and that cheapness served us well. The beautiful thing about nature is that it can heal. It's a living thing, and so it can be abused, but then it can forgive and heal, and that's a wonderful thing.